Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, Trap and Roll Soap Company and Rolls Gear. And you can find all of our old episodes at bjjshow.com. I'm Rob, and Randy and I had another Facebook Live episode done where we talked about hygiene, talked about self-defense. We talked about some of the crazy messages we got from people responding to our ads on Facebook. You know, we're trying to put the podcast out there, and some people, I guess, misinterpreted what the ads were. But it was a good episode. We hope that you all enjoy it. And, you know, if you want to help support the show, don't forget to go to bjjshow.com. You can buy a t-shirt or a patch or, you know, listen to some of the old episodes, like I said earlier. And we really hope that you enjoy this episode.
It won't be as bad as when you were out of town.
That shit was awful. Like, I should have tested out the webcam before I left, because I had this whole like optimistic thing. Like, I barely use the laptop anymore. You know, it's not going to be a problem. And then I turned on the webcam when we first started, and it looked like shit. So, and then that first day, that was rough, man. That was legit. I stayed up. I went from work to the airport, to the hotel, hung out with the group there, then came back, and I'm like, when's the last time I went to bed? I'm like, fuck, like 20-something hours ago? Well,
That's rough.
It was rough.
Rough.
It was a good time, though. I had a great time. But,
You hung in there, though, for the episode, man. You hung in there.
dude, it was getting a little rambly there at the end. That's for sure.
We got it done, though. I mean, that's, you know. So, congratulations to our winner.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Stand by one second. We'll make sure I get his name right. Charlie Robertson. So Mr. Charlie Robertson, yeah, good job, dude. Thank you for entering. The stuff is about to get ordered and will be on the way. I got all his gear sizes, or his gi size, his shirt size, all that good stuff. So we'll get that sent out to you. I'd like to do more giveaways like that in the future, just because, like I said, we got great friends and great support on this podcast. So
Absolutely.
So, since the last time we talked, did you get any? How's training going? Anything wild happened to you? How's the week been?
It's been good. I mean, you know, it's I got in a couple. I didn't get in as much as I wanted to this week. I had some busy work stuff that distracted me, and then I even got out to a rare day off and a concert. You know, these days I don't get to have a lot of fun outside of training stuff, so it was nice to get a little break and be a human being for a night.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I got in a couple times this week, and the training feels good. I feel really good. So nothing crazy at all. Just normal stuff. So how about you?
Good. I got to roll around with a couple friends, which was nice. It's kind of like being on night shift sucks. I know you know that, but getting the time to get in and roll around with a few people, like whether it's at somebody's house or even here, because I got mats, but it's nice, and it's good to get that in. I'm feeling a bit better. Started trying out this new diet, kind of a more of just lean meat and vegetables type situation. Trying to get back down to what I felt was like a good weight that I can compete at or just move around at, because, you know, I think something that's helping with the back issue is losing weight even more, obviously. But feels good to roll around again. I can invert after my injury, so I'm not too concerned right now. I'll throw my back out here picking up shoes or some shit. But
Exactly how it goes.
And Vernon just asked, why don't we just throw our chi? Why the fuck don't we just throw our chi? To be honest with you,
Feel a lot easier.
It's a lot easier, dude. I don't have to like wear pajamas. I don't have to grab people. I don't have to throw them. I don't have to like roll around with them. I just like what?
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Problem solved, and we can send it right through the internet, through the interwebs.
Mm-hmm.
We just start throwing our chi at everybody.
Yeah, we could. I think we talked about this before. I think you and I can make a lot of money just duping people into doing like no touch knockouts because of our,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
we really could. But speaking of duping people, so we've been on a big push to get people to listen to our podcast, because that's what people with podcasts do, I guess, is we shamelessly self promote all the time. And me and Randy talked a bit about it, but we've had some doozy responses, or some of the responses we've had from our ads are some doozies. Let me tell you, they're I think I've been or we have been accused of stalking and harassing at least 2 people so far with these ads.
Yeah, well, and didn't you say? I mean, read some of the responses that you got.
All right, hold on. Let me pull them up. Like, is this me blasting people out? Yes. Is this us kind of like having a laugh at it? Yes. So, if you're watching this and you see our ad on our page, we don't know who you are. Okay, we're not specifically targeting you for whatever reason. Because I had one guy, dude.
I remember my first day on the internet.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say this: people who responded and asked where we train and that they train in a certain place, you're not really included in this because you just want more people to roll with. I'm okay with that. I'm sure Randy's okay with that.
That's a good response. And if I'm in the area, I'd love to meet up with some people and roll. I mean, that's what jiu-jitsu is all about. So I'm cool with that.
So let me read the one long sentence I got from this guy. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but I live in Alaska and I'm happy at my gym, but thanks. You should explain how you got my information before your sales pitch. Even if I lived across the street from you, you should send out some sales BS and act like you are my buddy or some shit. If not, you're a creep. Fire the damn guy who made that cheese dick 1998 graphics bullshit. Go fuck your mother.
That's pretty awesome, though.
I mean, it's pretty good.
I like the cheese dick comment.
I mean, that's a throwback, so... I haven't heard cheese digging forever, so
I don't understand. It's not like we're directly messaging anybody. It's showing up. I'm assuming it's showing up on your feed, like what all of us get on our Facebook feeds on a regular basis. Companies that are advertising like their footwear or their hats or anything that you tend to like to look at. That's what's showing up. I mean, this guy, I'm sure he gets plenty of ads for like women's underwear and shit.
Speaking of creeps, yeah. Here's another good one. How did you find me? Did my ex-wife send you? Because I ain't standing for this kind of harassment. And I was nice. I responded to this one because I want to be nice. Just kind of let it. I think this is the first one. I'm like, all right, maybe he misunderstood. I said Joe, or I almost said his full name. This is an advertisement promoting a martial arts podcast, and I left it at that. But I mean, it's can't win sometimes, I guess. But that's really it.
I mean, maybe. But hey, joke's on him. Maybe we do know his ex-wife.
I mean, anything's possible. She could be a friend of the show, and I mean that in a nice way, not a cool way.
Yeah.
But that's the fun in promoting a podcast. That's the gritty seedy underbelly of promotion of podcasts and stuff. And yeah, I hopped in at the best time. You sure did, Liz. You sure did. Let me tell you. But I think it's kind of it's interesting because we're at this weird point because we've talked about it. You know, we're past the stage of like grabbing every individual person, being like, "Do you do jiu-jitsu? Let's do jiu-jitsu. You should be doing jiu-jitsu." Like, I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe I still will hit people up, and they're like, "Oh, let's roll." I'm like, "Outstanding, let's roll." But now we're doing it with a podcast.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't walk around looking for people to do jiu-jitsu. Although I will say that in my profession, I encourage everybody to do it. That's for different reasons.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, otherwise, you sound like a CrossFitter. Or a vegan, right? Everybody knows if there's a vegan in the room. It's like the old joke in the Air Force about pilots. How you know if there's a pilot in the room?
No, like that one.
Don't worry, he'll tell you, right?
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I will say, yeah, I have dealt with a few Air Force pilots, and you absolutely know they're pilots. One, because I tower over them, and two, they let you know that they're pilots. But that's
immediately.
Like, cool, man. Like, I'm obviously not built to be a pilot. Congratulations, but good on you though. That's probably still a rough job, but they definitely let you know it's a rough job.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it has one of the highest washout rates of any other military MOS, but I mean, it's mostly because of the unique set of skills and attributes that they're looking for. So I got knocked out of all the cool shit because of my color vision, so I could count that out.
That sucks.
I still remember when I went in and I went to MEPS and they told me that I couldn't do either of the jobs I wanted because of my color vision. I said, well, what's the next most similar job to, and people are going to laugh because look, I was a kid. I didn't know security forces and TAC-P. Those are the 2 jobs I wanted. One of those is a lot cooler than the other, right? But you don't know that until you go in and you realize that the gate guard is not exactly the coolest job. But regardless, I couldn't do either one because of my color vision. And I said, what's the next most similar job? And that fucking recruiter told me air transportation. And so I go to tech school and I realized very quickly, I'm like, this has nothing to do with security forces or TAC-P. But the only similar part of this job is that I use a radio sometimes. That's about it. False advertising.
Was he confused that being by an airplane and directing an airplane are the two are two separate things?
He's like, you get to wear a uniform. Everybody wears a fucking uniform. Anyway.
Yeah. So next week though, we have James Hoffman on the show. Hopefully, I'm gonna pretty much corner him. I'll be in Vegas, so we're going to do out of town podcasting part 2 where I don't fuck this one up with a bad webcam, but I'll have him and we should be able to at least, have a good conversation with him. I'll corner him. I'll be like, dude,
I was going to say, hopefully you have better internet connection in Las Vegas. I'm assuming Vegas is a little bit more, connected.
Yeah, than middle of Colorado type area, which is weird to me. It's also they want $5 extra a day to use it. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it for the podcast, but
it's probably to buy their dime bags with.
Nah. Oh well. So, is there any jiu-jitsu news going on? I will say this for jiu-jitsu stuff. The premiere of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or the BJJ Globetrotters documentary is on their Facebook page and their YouTube. It's actually really interesting. It is it kind of goes through the inception of the Globetrotters camps, and then kind of it shows a full year. It's cool. It really hits all the wave tops, if you will, of going to a camp and stuff like that. And so, like I said, absolutely would recommend going to a Globetrotters camp. They're fun, good people. That's all I can say about it. And you get to go somewhere sometimes that you never normally would go to anyways.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to try one sometime because I've never, other than Canada, Grand Cayman, and Jamaica, I've never left the country. So,
the goal is, it depends because I might have another business trip coming up, but I really want to go to Heidelberg camp. Let me see what the dates are for that.
So it's the full documentary. It's not like a preview. It's like an actual documentary.
It's the full one. It's like an hour and 11 minutes. It's a really good watch. Yeah, it's really good. Let me see. Where's the next camp? It's gonna be 2022.
I mean, a lot of those guys are on Belt Checker, right?
Yeah. Well, Christian actually started up Belt Checker.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're on Belt Checker, you're usually there too. So summer camp Heidelberg, yeah, there's good availability. That is July 25th to 30th, 2022. I've never done the camp itself in Heidelberg just because of timing, but I've always gone to the weekend parties at Heidelberg and see a lot of my friends there, and that's a lot of fun. So would absolutely recommend it. Yeah, so let's start gameplaying on that if you're down.
That'd be cool, man. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, tickets aren't too bad. And then, what's the cost for it? If you go to just the camp, and we're okay just getting our own Airbnb, so you're not living in a dorm room. But they're shit. I don't know, but you got Christian teaching, you got Preet, who's been a guest on the show teaching there, and then Francesco Fonte, who's one of the guys who runs Next Level MMA out of Hanau, and he's a fucking phenomenal black belt. So
I still want to get a couple of Preet's instructionals. I haven't had a chance to check one out yet.
Yeah, they're fucking phenomenal. I absolutely would recommend them. But yeah,
I'd still like to do an Origin immersion if it wasn't so number one, expensive, and number two, more fanboyish. I really want to just do really good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, no, I hear you there, man.
Which, I know obviously you're getting legit jiu-jitsu there. They have some top name black belts, and Jocko obviously is a legit black belt himself. But if I'm going to go to an immersion camp, it's not to, you know, try to get an autograph jockstrap. Is to actually train and have a good time.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal for me for any Brazilian Jiu Jitsu camp is can't really break the bank these days. You know, got a man's got to eat. Man's
Yeah,
got
yeah, man,
to.
dude. Hey,
But
you know that's coming up too. I don't delve too much into the sport jiu-jitsu news or scene, I guess. But I did see where uh, Galvao and Gordon Ryan are going to be going at it.
yeah, yeah. Now the question
That'll be pretty epic.
is it gonna be too late because of age? Like, how old's Galval now? I mean, it's 38. Never mind.
Dude is
He's,
still a fucking specimen. I mean,
yeah. He will,
it's gonna be interesting to see.
yeah, because
My personal opinion is Gordon Ryan takes it, but
I think so too. I think he's got about 12 years on him. He's 26. I mean, he's been dominating most of the competitions. Galval's actually smaller than him. It
wow.
looks like so.
And I mean, Gordon Ryan's been dominating it to the degree where he can literally put a sealed envelope with his submission of choice to win in that envelope and give it to the promoter and still do it. So it's like another level of dominance. And allegedly, according to his social media, he's figured out his stomach issues and is getting them treated. So what is that going to do for his conditioning? Because digestive health, if nobody knows, can affect so many things. I learned this through experience. I never really paid much attention until I had some really bad stomach issues myself. Some of them that parallel what Gordon Ryan is going through, um, namely with the SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, can cause a lot of problems within your system. Your stomach is connected to everything. And so, you go look at some of that, and your digestive system can affect your energy, your focus, your weight, your recovery. It can affect so many things. And so he apparently had some tremendously bad issues with SIBO and like a fungal outbreak and all this crap going on in his system that jacked him up. And he was still the way he was. That's crazy. So what is he going to look like now that he's healthy? That's what I
Like
want to know.
an even more conditioned Gordon Ryan's probably a very terrifying Gordon Ryan. Like, I mean,
Crazy.
already, like you said, already one of the most dominant Brazilian Jiu Jitsu practitioners
Yep.
on earth with like a smaller gas tank. So,
Yeah. I mean,
fuck.
just it's going to be insane. I think he takes it pretty dominantly, but it's
I
still
think
going
so
to be a
too.
good. I'm still going to be interested to see it though, especially with some of the animosity between the two of them. So
Would be interesting to see too. I mean, or it could just be like when fucking Roger Gracie came back and just
yeah,
dominated. It'd just be like Galval comes in, just chokes him out. That'd be kind of
yeah.
interesting to watch. But we'll see, man. Like, do we even have a date for that yet?
I don't think they even is. I don't know. I think they just confirmed they were doing it. Wasn't it as a ADCC super fight? Isn't that what they said it was going to be?
Yep, I'll give you the date. It's right here. It's in. Hold on. Oh, this is from June. Whatever. I need something more recent. Come on, guys. There you go. ADC 2022. There it is. I gotta click on that. Oh god, I can't believe I'm clicking on this website that I won't talk about. September 17th and 18th. So a legitimate year from now,
Wow,
we're gonna have it.
there could be a lot that could change in a year.
Yeah, this is pretty much the Mayweather McGregor fight for me. I'll believe it when I see him on the mats.
Well, you also got to look at too with the whole Danaher Death Squad falling apart. How's that going to affect Gordon Ryan's training and what's going to change? I'm sure he still has a lot of the same training partners, but there's that. Um, so man, I like that bar that you got in the background. I see that come over there. We gotta belly up to that bar sometime.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm actually working like downstairs. I'll send you a picture of like the work in progress, but I'm trying to expand this part of the bar out like another 4 feet because just not enough room, and kind of make it even fancier. I figured that was kind of like a problem of just a little too much time and a little
Mhm.
too like oh yeah, I can expand the bar out, I can make it look even better, all that stuff. So it's gonna hopefully it'll look better when it's all done because This was all I joke like this is all done with a circular saw, and that was really it, just a circular saw,
Wow,
and like
that's
and like
impressive,
a
man.
thanks, but yeah, I really wanted to look like super duper well done now that I have like all these tools downstairs to like do woodworking and stuff. But
Yeah.
that's kind of my outside jujitsu hobby that makes me feel like I'm doing jujitsu, where I gotta like just focus, and if I do it right, I fuck it up, I learn a lesson, and if I don't, I get better at it.
And that cat is just
Yeah, it's Lucky Cat.
constantly waving.
What's for good luck, I think. So far, so good. Don't want to
How
jinx
does
the
it
Lucky
work?
Cat.
How do those keep waving?
So it has like the little calculator, you know, the old school calculators that are like solar powered.
Yeah.
Has that on the front of it. So when the lights are on, he waves, but when the lights are off, he doesn't.
Ah,
That's the cheat code on the Lucky
ancient
Cat there.
ancient Chinese secret.
Yep, the sun. That's how the sun is the secret on that one.
I thought he was just throwing chi.
Yeah, dude, he's doing like this. He's stopping everybody. He's a
Chucking it.
master of systema, and he just
Yeah,
stops people.
to Stanley. He went there.
I did. Well, the thing I feel like there are two different levels of systema. Like the believable stuff that actually is like self defense, and then like the guys who are like pushing people out of the way without pushing them out of the way.
Kind of like Krav Maga. You've got like realistic Krav Maga, and then you've got the watered down Americanized bullshit that's no better than like a, you know, Americanized karate or taekwondo.
Sometimes, yeah. I feel like, yeah, the Israeli like somebody was telling me, and I kind of like questioned the validity of this. She was a Krav Maga instructor, and she goes, "In Israel, what they do is on the first night of Krav Maga, they stick you in a coffin, and you sleep in the coffin, so you're not afraid of being dead." I'm like, it's kind of a
That is some bullshit.
yeah, that's kind of what I said. I was like, oh, okay. Didn't realize they
Whatever.
do that. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but it definitely sounded like bullshit to me. But
Whatever.
yeah, no, there are some people who like really dedicate themselves to the art of Krav Maga, much like some people with jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
there are definitely some come try Krav Maga. I've done like 3 days of classes and only teach once a week or whatever. It's not even like there's no intensity to it. It's pretty much Taibo. That's all it is. And do this, and you're done. It's like get back or whatever. I'm terrible at Krav Maga. That's why I'm.
Well, no, I mean, Krav Maga, that most of their guys are terrible at anything beyond white belt jiu-jitsu, so it's okay.
So no, I will say there are some that are that do seek out some extra Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So there are people who come to Brazilian jiu-jitsu classes or ask questions about it and learn a bit more about it, which I think is fucking phenomenal. But
Oh,
usually when you get the one-dimensional people who don't look for other martial arts, that's when that one martial art sucks.
well, I was gonna say something because we've got Aaron Fears that trains at our gym. He is also a Krav Maga instructor. So when I talk smack about Krav Maga, a lot of times it's just in jest.
Oh yeah,
But Aaron Fears is a great guy, but the difference between him and a lot of the, like what you're saying, kind of the purists, is that he's a legit jiu-jitsu practitioner, very, very tough, very good. And he supplements his Krav Maga with jiu-jitsu, and to the point where he teaches a lot of jiu-jitsu during his Krav Maga classes to make his students better on the ground. I mean, you just got to recognize at the end of the day, when you look at a system like Krav Maga, you kind of have to look at it, in my opinion, in the same light that you would look at like a military combative system or a law enforcement combative system. It's the very fundamentals of various systems integrated for a specific task, like a specific profession or demand. And so you have to augment that with other things depending on what your individual needs are. And that's why Krav Maga is not good for law enforcement, because it doesn't cover passively resisting subjects. It doesn't cover handcuffing. It doesn't cover, those types of principles without some semblance of cross training. So, that's the flaw. But when we look at jiu-jitsu, that's one of my big fears. And you and I have talked about this at length, is that when you start to look at jiu-jitsu and you separate it, and there's this big division between sport and self-defense, the problem with that is a lot of times the self-defense stuff becomes a little bit unrealistic
yeah,
and gives some false expectations of effectiveness. And then when you look at the sport side, when you go on the very far reaching extreme of sport, then it's not street applicable. And so you get these two massive deviations, and what you get is this bastardized version of jiu-jitsu, which should be ultimately very effective for self-defense and sport.
Yeah.
So that's always my worry.
No, I agree 100%. I think that goes pretty much with any martial art, to be honest with you. I mean,
Mhm.
the main goal of any martial art, whatever opinion of, I mean, we can even say, well, maybe not ninjutsu. I guess we'll exclude that one. That was all about sneaking around and, stabbing people or whatever. Was the fact it was all like self defense based and was more or less like, we do this move because it does this to a person, it stops them. And then when you start getting away from that and you start doing like, competitions are great. I fucking love competition. It's fun. But there does come a point when you need to make sure that if somebody does try to attack you, hopefully it never happens, but if somebody ever does, that you can at least kind of go back to your Rolodex. That's an old word. Rolodex of moves for self-defense, and then you worry about that. And you whatever your martial art is, and if it's you have trained to defend yourself and not get a false sense of security, because I've seen some karate schools. Don't get me wrong, where I'm like, you guys are gonna die. Like, don't do that. Like, you want me to run at somebody and take their gun from them, and then I'm like, no, you're gonna die. You're gonna die real bad.
Well, and it's like, at what point does jiu-jitsu get better at just defeating other jiu-jitsu practitioners and not on defending yourself against untrained or moderately trained attackers from different systems? That's the big issue. And I saw that when I was younger and I trained in Wing Chun. The problem with Wing Chun is, are there effective methods and concepts? Of course there are. You look at any martial arts system that has survived the test of time, there's going to be effective things within it. But the problem is when you get it and it's just basically, Wing Chun was really good at defending Wing Chun, but it wasn't very good at defending against Western boxing or Muay Thai kickboxing or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or wrestling. It's because it got too traditionalized and they kind of like landlock themselves into what they do. And it's like, oh no, we can't do that move because that's not taught in the curriculum. Well, you're gonna have a really bad day when somebody throws a technique at you that's not taught in your curriculum.
Yep.
Right. And that's the big problem. And jiu-jitsu is effective because it integrates elements from wrestling, from judo, from sambo, from these different things, and it just keeps taking what works best and applying it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's effective. We have to make sure we keep doing that.
So no, I agree, because I think one of my favorite things to see from time to time, and I call it the exception, not the rule, but generally you say if you're inside of somebody's guard, the goal is to pass the guard, right?
Right.
And so, and I always try to preface that with there are exceptions to every rule. So don't like freak out if you see something different, or worry about that. So some people, you get to see them, and they're a little newer, and it's not a knock on them for being new. But they have somebody in the guard, and the person in the guard is taller or bigger enough that they just crank on a cross collar choke from inside the guard, and they can't get away from it. They're like, "What the fuck? We said, like, no chokes. No, like, they should just be trying to pass my guard."
Well,
that's the thing. Like you say, like, it's not in the curriculum, but you got to kind of be aware of stuff like that. It's like, what if? Like, that's why I love rolling with white belts and blue belts, because they do all the things that I am not ready for. And it makes me think. Like, I have to be on my toes for that type of stuff.
Well, and you always have to constantly bring up certain things with you as your like skill rises. You have to constantly bring some things up with you and keep them up to par. And it's those fundamental concepts. And that's why my kick when I roll is to really make sure that I'm when I get to a position of dominance, slow myself down, focus on controlling that position, and then work for a submission, instead of getting greedy with movement or whatever and trying to hastily move into that submission attempt or even try to isolate a limb or anything. It's more about solidifying that control that I have, kind of waiting it out for a second, feeling what they're going to do and kind of learning from what they're doing, and then responding with an attack that's consistent. Like, you should be able to do that, because when you look at self-defense, it comes down to distance management, but it also comes down to positional control or escape, because you have to be able to get out of bad positions and control good ones. If for self-defense, it's not really as much about submission. Tap out doesn't matter in the street. Tap out doesn't matter if you're arresting a violent subject or trying to survive. getting mugged in an alley somewhere. Tap out doesn't matter. And so with that being said, it's less about submissions. It's more about survival and control.
Well, I mean, stuff like you're conditioned to do as well for like when you train. So I think like that made me think of like tap out isn't for self defense and stuff like that. I think about was it the FBI Academy that had to change up how they were doing like gun disarms because like they were doing them so often and just handing it back to
Yeah.
the person they were working with at like the couple times that like they actually had to do something like that, they would disarm the person and they would just hand the gun right back to the subject because it's instinct at that point, right? So
Yeah, it becomes muscle memory. I mean, anything that you train repeatedly, that's you fight how you train. That's a true thing. And I mean, they had officers too that back in the day at the range, what they would do is after they got done doing their qualification courses, they would take their hat off and pick up brass and drop it in their hat, so they wouldn't have to. It's just like a quick storage spot. Well, a couple things wrong with that. Number one, lead poisoning, right? Which
yeah,
number two is that you're creating muscle memory, and they had the same thing. They had officers that were involved in shootings that were trying to pick up their brass, and it's like, what are you doing, right? They found brass in their pockets, brass in their hats, stuff like that, because that was what they had done. And so, of course, now you don't pick up your brass until you're done with your qualification courses and all that. So anything you train, that's what becomes muscle memory.
so now I'm worried because as you well know in the military, like oh, a police call, and it was just everybody puts the brass in their covers.
Yeah.
Well,
And we don't do that. We don't put them in our hats. We have like little metal buckets that we throw our rounds in. But here's the funny part. They said, you can't use brooms like OSHA. Like you can't use brooms on the range because it kicks the lead everywhere, right?
yeah,
These lead dust clouds. We have a machine that's supposed to pick up some of the brass when you push it over it, like a little vacuum cleaner. And they're like, no, you can't do either because that creates these dust clouds of lead. But they want us to bend down and pick them up individually by hand. I'm like, I don't know if that's any safer as far as exposure. And then we go eat our cheeseburgers for lunch after we just like picked up 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Yeah, like I think we're kind of screwed either way.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that. My bad. I'm like eating a sandwich out there after shooting everything with like just dark hands.
Yeah. Oh, let me throw some hand sanitizer on. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think that does anything for lead.
now it's just like alcohol gel and lead all over your hands.
Yeah.
And cordite. Yeah. You're just oh god.
Well, speaking of cleanliness, real quick, and relating this back to jiu-jitsu, since we kind of go off on a little tangent. I think we've talked about this before, but I got to bring it up again because I keep hearing it come up and it's really annoying to me. Wash your fucking belts.
Dude, seriously.
I don't understand why this is still a thing in 2021, man.
Yeah, so do it because it's the last bastion of germs at that point. Like you can wash your gi, you can wash you, as I hope you do.
Yeah, oh God, I hope so.
Yeah, just everybody out there. I know you probably do. But what I'm saying is, yeah, your belt is the thing that's constantly sweated on, drooled on, sometimes even vomited on.
Yeah.
Like
blood on.
You can bled on. You can honestly, if you have stripes on and, they get taken off in the wash, I don't think your coach is going to be upset if you put your stripes back on.
I was just getting ready to say that's the biggest excuse I hear. Well, when stripes come on, okay, first of all, who gives a fuck? They're stripes. Second of all, yes, like it's within jiu-jitsu etiquette that you can replace stripes you've already been given if you've already earned them. The problem is if you add extra, then you're a douchebag.
Yeah,
right. But
that's on you.
Yeah, But if there's even any question on that, go to your instructor and ask them instead of going to them every single time you wash your belt. Because I think that's the concern a lot of people have is like, well, if I wash my belt each week, then my stripes are going to come off. Well, I've washed my belt. It takes multiple washes to take the stripes off if you put them on right. Either way, they come off. Just go to your coach and say, hey, if I wash my belt, can I just go ahead and replace my stripes? And now you only have to ask that one time. And from here until the end of time, you're good to replace your stripes, right? But I'm here to tell you that nobody gives a shit if you replace the stripes you already had, because they're going to come off when you roll. They're going to come off when you wash your belt. But here's the secret, guys. You're not getting any magical juju or losing any magical powers by washing your fucking belt. That is not real. It's not true. Leave that shit alone. Wash your damn belt. It's disgusting. It's literally made of the same stuff your gi is made out of. You wash your gi. Why are you not washing your belt? There is zero logic behind it. And I'm so tired of hearing about people not washing their fucking belts. Like, it's so annoying. It's disgusting. It drives me nuts. Just go lick a fucking subway fucking railing, because it's the same damn thing. Like, you're disgusting. Wash your belt.
I think we found a sensitive topic. But I agree 100% with it. Like, it's along the lines of having to tell people to wear shoes when you're going to the bathroom.
Oh, that's so disgusting too.
Don't be gross.
Don't walk into the gym barefoot and then walk onto the mat either. Like, have you never seen anybody spit on the ground like outside in the parking lot? All the nasty shit that's out there, fucking used condoms getting thrown on the ground out there. You're walking across that barefoot and bringing on the mats. Like, wear shoes into the gym, or flip flops at least. Yeah. And then okay. Don't go into the bathroom barefoot and then God, dude, people and hygiene, disgusting. Yeah.
I'll give you another tip. Here's a free tip from the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. When you shower or you bathe, wash the bottom of your feet.
you really have to call that one out. I mean, you shouldn't even have to say that.
Yeah, like, how are you coming into my class wearing shoes, and then you take your shoes off and it looks like you've been barefoot for 4 days straight? Like, and I like foot locks, so please don't, like, dude, it just, you're giving me like gangrene, like secondhand gangrene somehow.
Listen, your buddies from Warriors Next Adventure, when they came out, enrolled with us at TFTC,
yeah,
they were clean. They were clean. These guys have been traveling the country in a pickup truck, and they found ways to be clean coming in the gym. If they can find ways to be clean coming in the gym, then anybody else out there can.
Yeah, don't be lazy.
It drives me nuts. But you're right. Wash your feet. Wash your ass. If you're listening to this show right now and you don't remember the last time you washed your ass, stop watching and go wash your fucking ass, like, right now.
Put it on pause. We'll be here. I mean, it's a recorded show anyway. We're live right now, but you could pause it and you can come back. So, oh man, yeah. Please be clean. That's all I ask as well. Like, nothing drives me up the fucking wall, dude. Because I will say this: you leave a gi out. I mean, okay, so you can air dry a gi one time. That's all you get. You get one time, because it does, and it has to be inside, not outside. Outside makes it smell like cat piss. Inside, but that's also you have to be showering regularly. Generally, shower twice a day if you work out, right? And sometimes it's nice to get a good shower before bed, so you like put on your silk bathrobe and you fall asleep. It's fucking phenomenal. Try it, but. You should be washing your gi, or, like, if you have more than, and that was when I had one gi. I would air dry it inside my barracks one day, and then use it the next day again for class because it was dry. I did the smell check and everything, because if it smelled, I wasn't going to class, because I'm not going to do that to somebody. But, you know, if you have like 2 or 3 gis, guess what? You can wash your gis, like, and then you have a rotation. You have a rotation of gis. Do the rotation of gis.
Yeah, and my other thing is, like, the people that, and they do it with gis too, but I feel like it's more common in no gi. If you left your gear in the car overnight, don't come back to the gym. I'm saying, like, after you trained. I mean, if you have like clean gi, no gi stuff in a bag, and you left it in your car overnight, no big deal. I'm talking about if you wore it and trained in it, and then you left it in your car. No, it's not okay just one time. It's not. It's never okay, because you're going to come in smelling like straight up BO, and it's not okay ever.
Yeah. It's terrible. And we hate it, because we got to roll with you.
Yes. Yeah. Gross. And then it gets like stuck in your nose and you smell it for like 3 days. It's fucking gross, man. I can't stand it. Hygiene, fellas. Hygiene, and women. Although I will say I've yet to roll with a nasty female, thankfully. It seems like it's always the guys. I don't get it.
You remember being in middle school, deodorant was optional. I feel like sometimes it just carries over to some people. They run by and your nostrils catch on fire. It's just fucking terrible. Terrible shit, man.
Yes.
All right. So before we head out, after that nice, tirade of, information that is absolutely applicable to a lot of people, is there anything you'd like to say to our friends and listeners out there?
Well, we do have some guests coming. I know we've been saying that. We do have some. You already mentioned one. We've got a couple more in mind as well. So I'm looking forward to those interviews and getting some outside perspectives in here. clip your toenails, wash your ass, and have fun on the mats. That's all I got.
Or same here. We appreciate y'all listening once again. It's we're out there, we're doing it, we're trying. But let your friends know about the show if they enjoy it. If you enjoy it, pass it on. The bigger we are, the crazier shit we get to do, the more we get to involve you all, stuff like that. So, um, once again, it's been the Big Jiu Jitsu Show. I'm Rob,
I'm Randy.
and we'll catch you guys next time.